Welcome to Holdback Rack Podcast. My name is Jessica Hare. I operate Hare Hollow Farm, and we breed boas, balls, and select colubrids.
Hi, I'm Jana King. I operate ASM Royal Tails, and I breed high-end ball pythons.
We want to share our journey navigating herpetoculture and are dedicated to promoting biohazard safety for all species. And we would love you to answer the question, what's in your holdback rack? Breaking news. Special edition of the Holdback Rack podcast. Things have come unraveled a little bit since Monday, and we thought we would check in and share our hot takes while it's still pressing and fresh in the mind. Because by next week we'll be like post-show and running on fumes and candy canes and Christmas cheer, and that's it.
That's it. There will be no extras.
Maybe caffeine. So we don't know how many what are. I think so much stuff will be happening by next week. We'll have moved on to 10 other exciting things that have happened. In my opinion. Agree. So if we don't talk about this now, we're not going to do it service Monday morning when we're busy talking about something else anyway.
When we're busy wanting to be sleeping and not talking to any other human forever.
Yes. This is such a tangent, but did you know J&G Reptiles is coming to the show?
J&G Reptiles?
I
don't know who that is.
It doesn't matter. Major breeders from other states are flying snakes in and vending our show.
What?
I know. And I was like, hello? And that's why the vendor list is 100 people now. And I was like, whoo. And I was looking through. So multiple East Coast vendors are flying in and driving in large supplies of extra snakes to our market pre-show. Because this is the only show at this time period in a lot of places.
Like a pre-Christmas show?
Yeah, I'll probably cut all this out. But I was just like, whoa, stop the press. Do they think this is going to be a big show now? So I'm actually more excited for the show now. Because, somehow a bunch of people have, tricked a bunch of outside breeders to flying in here. I'm like,
that's not good for business.
No, it's not good for us. But it is good for, people's perception of our market. I don't know. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my concern going into the show.
I might leave this in also if it's hot take.
Oh, okay. The Facebook event last time in July, over 10,000 people said they were interested or going.
How many people went? Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
And 10,000, and I think we had over 10,000 attend combined for the 2 days. And this time, I think there is 100 people saying they're going.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it could totally be just no one's replying, and everyone was so excited about it last time because we hadn't had one in 18 months. So they were like, yes, RSVP, thank you. Because I know they're selling tickets. They're doing pre-sales and stuff. So people are going. It was a very dramatic difference. And they've been emailing and harassing us you've probably been getting these emails.
Yeah, is that normal? Are you saying that's not normal?
So in the previous 2 shows that I attended, I feel like we got maybe 3 or 4 emails in the 3 months prior to the show asking us to advertise and push the show. And this time I feel like they're coming out every day.
Yeah, they are coming out. I just thought this was normal. This is my first show with them. So it's not normal. It's extra.
It's not it's way over the top extra. So
okay.
We'll see. It's either going to be a total, I don't know, hot take. We'll let you know on Monday how it goes. I don't know. I am all of a sudden feeling very unprepared, and this has been It's been a hard week, man.
Oh,
It's
I'm
been a rough
prepared for
week.
the show?
Yeah, just in general.
Or just
I
like your
just,
life isn't ready for the extra work of the show?
I guess, I don't know.
Okay.
I had planned to skip this show because it's right by Christmas, and my life always gets really crazy around Christmas. But I had lots of people reaching out, making sure that I was going to be there because they wanted to buy a snake, and so I felt like I needed to go. So we'll see if that pays off or not.
What would make it pay off to you? Like a particular amount of animals moved, or a dollar amount, or a
This time
feeling of rejuvenation, or what would be the.
I would like it to not suck my soul out.
Okay.
Um, because this topic that we're talking about today is sucking my soul out. Um, I would like to move a lot of baby snakes.
Okay.
I don't have a dollar amount. Like I don't care about that. I would like to rehome most of the babies I have in my rack.
Okay. Would you know what number you're like shooting for, or you would prefer to do?
I sold about 30 at the July show, and I only sold about 15 at the Portland show. So I'd really like to hit that higher number, about 30,
Okay. I
40. We'll see.
I don't even know if I know what I want to sell. 10.
You said you wanted to give out business cards. That was more important to you.
Yeah, I don't even care that much. I don't know why. I should care more because I spent money on the table, and I spent a lot of money on
Like banners and stuff.
decor and acrylic things that aren't here. And I don't know. I bought like 60 blue candy canes. I'm giving them out if you subscribe to the podcast, which if you're already here and you're already a subscriber, you get a candy cane. Congratulations. So like that's what I want to do. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm actually like more excited about the show than I think I was on even Monday.
Oh, that's funny. You sucked my soul out and killed the show, and now you're excited.
Yeah, because I think it's still true. I'm still gonna make people wear gloves, and I'm not gonna carry around a snake for people to hold. But I think it'll be fun to go like talk to all the big people that are actually coming in from the East Coast now that I didn't know were coming anyway. So I'm more interested in like the socialization part of it. And I was like, Chris, are you gonna like, he's like, you don't. Apparently, I haven't seen his like salesman pitch, and I'm like, you have a
That's
salesman pitch? Whoa, what the? I'm like,
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm ready for Chris's used car salesman, like bravado. I don't even know what it's about. I think it's gonna be
Oh
the
my
worst.
gosh.
He's gonna sell
It's gonna
boas
be
as balls and corn snakes as balls, and he's gonna mix them all up, and he's not gonna care because he barely cares. Like he's just there because he's being helpful and a good husband. But he's ready.
he's totally charming, and he's gonna do great.
I,
People are going to adore him.
I know. I'm impressed by his
I cannot wait to hear his
whatever is gonna
salesman
happen.
pitch. Yeah.
Whatever's gonna happen, I think it'll be really funny, and
It's gonna be a really funny time that we can laugh about. We'll see how we do on sales and moving animals. I would like to move a lot of animals. I have reduced some of my prices even. Like I just buy my snakes. Please buy my snakes. I would like to move on to season 2.
all right, sure, yeah, I will be fine. All right, back to the Morphmarket.
The actual, yes.
Yeah, I'm sort of delaying because we have a special guest who might arrive, but maybe won't arrive also. So the guest would not be special, or he would be very special. I'm not sure. We'll decide. Anyway.
So, are you at liberty to discuss the phone call you received? Or probably not.
Probably not, but what's the short and long of it? So today, on the day is December 8th, Morphmarket rolled back their previously quite agreeable to me policy where, if you forgot everyone, seller had to opt out of offering 2 days of testing window and then a return for a refund if they also took a picture of the swab happening. That is no longer in the default store policy rules. That's not doesn't even exist at all. So a lot of people were mad apparently behind the scenes, and some people were mad publicly. But some people were for this privately before it ever even happened, and that's why it happened. So I don't know how much those two parties were clashing in the background. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, we're not privy to the background.
No, we're
which is
not
unfortunate. Cool. We're not cool enough to have access to that kind of information. But it's so disheartening. It's so frustrating. It was such a simple policy that felt really benign, and so many people were utterly outraged and angry. And it's like, oh, reading in that post that you sent me, that and everybody's like, oh, it's leaving so much room for you to be scammed. I'm getting scammed. I don't want that animal back. So you're being scammed and someone's stealing your money, yet you don't want us to ship you back your animal.
Yeah.
So are you being scammed, or are you just not wanting to have your animal shipped back to you? So what I do, and I don't think it was stated in the Morphmarket policy before it was backed up. I always offer to ship the animal back to them I'll pay for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the
Morphmarket
Morphmarket one specified who was to pay for shipping on the return, like in their rules, like the return shipping.
I don't believe. Right, I don't think they stated that.
Yeah, I don't think they did either.
I always say for myself, when I'm talking to someone trying to get them to agree to let me test, that if it's positive, I will ship the animal back to them at my own cost, and then once they receive the animal, then they can issue me a refund. And now if someone wanted to again test the animal at that point and then issue me a refund, there's some leeway to negotiate within what makes you comfortable. But it was such a you can opt out of it. It's not requiring that someone tests. It's only for those who test in the first 48 hours. You're having to provide photographic evidence or video evidence. Someone who's going to all that trouble and is willing to ship you back the animal is not a scammer. Someone who is testing animals is not a scammer. The definition of a scammer is they are trying to get something for nothing. They are not going to spend $50 a pop to test their animals to scam you.
Yeah. Yeah, it brings up to me a very troubling point is that people will refuse any returns ever under any circumstance because of biohazard safety excuses. But who does not have a quarantine that could accept a returned animal in any situation?
You also cannot know your own status. You refuse to test your own animals and know your own status. So you send out a sick animal that appears healthy, and then you state, I can't accept back this diseased animal that I sent you because that would break my biosafety rules. Well, obviously not.
Right.
Because if you had biosafety things in place and you were testing and you were exercising biosafety hazards, this animal would probably not be sick.
Right. But their sort of argument is that they didn't send it to you sick. You got it sick in 12 to 24 hours or whatever, or in the 5 minutes you open the box in your car.
In the FedEx parking lot.
Yeah. And now they can't return it to double check because they don't return animals, A, and then B,
your NIDO would infect their whole colony.
Yes,
even though
automatically.
They sent you
the animal to begin with. Yes, they're trying to get out of it. It
makes no logical sense, their arguments that they're using, and it makes me furious. Furious.
It feels like an outdated way to protect yourself. Be like, I just don't take refunds of any kind or returns. So like, I sent it to you. Like when Pete Call sent Brian Barczyk that pie that had like a crinkly spine and then like died within a week, and it cost $25,000 or whatever. Like at that time, every snake was a piece of shit, and you were just literally rolling the dice. So like all the old farts just believe that when the transaction happens, there's no more customer service or guarantees needed. It feels like an antiquated way to do this business model. We don't have to, because we're all adults buying and selling quite expensive animals that deserve a little bit more care. There was also
biosafety measures.
Yeah, there was also a lot of rebuttals like the animals cost too little to have, them get sent back and forth and justify that expense. And I'm like, so that just means the animals cost too little to be healthy. Like
that they don't deserve just as much respect as a $5,000 animal.
Right. So a $300 animal is not worth sending, them checking, receiving a positive, and then sending back, because it would cost too much relative to the profit in the animal. And I'm like, well, then it should be negative when it leaves, and then it won't have to come back. We're all in the same boat here.
Yes.
Right. So like if you were testing your adults and like, a random sampling of babies, then you would never have to come back. And so there was a little bit of back and forth on different Facebook groups. There was, including World of Ball Pythons. The moderator there chimed in his opinions. I tried to defend the policy because it sounded good to me. I did not dive in on that other thread that was...
I just looked at it. I didn't.
It wasn't worth it. It was a dumpster fire.
It was not a productive thread.
There were some people who were like, you know what, I would be in on this, but I need like a more nuanced sort of store policy. Like, what do we do with all the positive animals? Like, as a community, should we decide whatever? And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about that instead of not talking about that.
It was a starting point rather than just a hard no, but
scammers.
Yeah, scammers. And now my collection's not safe because they want to send me a sick animal. It's like, it came from your collection.
There's a lot of like fantasies about people keeping a positive animal just to get a positive result, and like manipulating the system to like scam people. Like, keep the animal, but keep sending positive results. And you're like, that's why you send it back.
That storyline kept getting thrown out there, and I was just dumbfounded by it. Like, really? Okay, scammers exist in our industry. It sucks. But really?
I know, who has like the time to have that complicated of a procedure?
Okay, I'm going to keep buying animals till I find a positive. Then I'm going to have Mr. Moneybags hang out, and I'm just going to swab him and send in, again, $50 test per animal so that I can keep your animal, even though
you're supposed to send it back anyway.
Most people want you to send the animal back, especially if they don't believe your results.
Exactly.
Right. If you want your animal back, they're out $50.
Right. It's very...
Plus, if you make them pay for shipping to send it back to you, they're out $100.
Yeah.
That's not worth it to a scammer.
Right. So these people that I read, even though I've never done business with them, I'm not buying snakes from you. You're on my like low-key blacklist, because I'm just like, do you distrust every buyer that comes to you? Like, do you think so poorly of someone who sends you a large amount of money that you believe them to be like literally insane or something? Like, I don't even understand like how you could treat your buyer like that.
I just bought another high-end male and was shopping in the $3,000 to $5,000 range for this animal. You guys will have to wait till I get him to hear about him. But I messaged several people trying to spend $3,000 to $5,000 and was being ghosted because I was being upfront about testing and wanting to test, because their thought process is these sell quickly, and I'd rather deal with somebody who wasn't going to give me drama.
Right. I don't know. I mean, we're all on the same team here. I've just been floored by like their interpretation of what this meant for them. I've also like, there were some people who were like, I don't think Morphmarket should condone the use of like medical procedures because they're not a vet and they don't understand what the tests are. And I'm like, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, so now I'm actually like refined my own position. Like, Morphmarket doesn't need to make it the default policy. What they've decided to do, and maybe this is better, I don't know, is like remind you in a prompt, just like they do always, that if you're going to ask for virus testing, you need to ask it before you send money or agree to a transaction. Because I ended up emailing Morphmarket. I conveyed my displeasure that they rolled back. I thought it was great to begin with, and I was happy and proud. And then I was a little bit disappointed. I want to start drinking, maybe slip into some sort of depression, bipolar, maybe.
That's where I am.
And then I came back, and so they came back to me, and they're like, we're going to institute sort of less specific things, because they acknowledge that if someone opts out, they look bad, and everyone's like, I don't want to look bad just because I opt out. And I'm like, well, then don't fucking opt out. Oh my god.
Oh, this is gonna make me look like a bad guy. It even literally states that in their rollback blog post.
I know, because that's what everybody said.
We made you look like a bad guy. Well, if you look like a bad guy and you feel bad, maybe you're doing it wrong.
Right. So
hot take.
And frankly, most people probably will never test anyway. So this was like something that was only going to make
literally
like the 5% of the testers. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone to test. It's not requiring you to test your own things. It's not requiring buyers to test incoming animals. It is allowing the opportunity for that to be okay, for that to become normal. But it's not causing any more people to test. It's not causing sellers to test. It is simply stating that if someone is responsible and testing their incoming animals, that the person who has sent that animal out is liable to be aware of that animal's disease status. And if they are not, and it is positive, and someone tests and they follow the correct procedure and timelines, you take it back.
Right.
And you give them their money back. It's so benign. It's not even like so many people, I don't think, read through it properly before they got angry.
Right, that's true. There was some reading comprehension errors.
Yes, like in one of the local breeder groups that I'm a part of, there were some people that were pretty angry because they're like, they can't force me to test my animals. That's not what they were saying. That's not what they were doing. All they were saying is if you send out a positive animal, the liability falls on you. The loss falls on you. And I don't think that that's wrong.
Right. And that's sort of most people's like casual tester relationship with testing is anyway. A lot of the people who have sent me a snake, they don't test, but they're happy to return and refund for a positive because they believe that their collection is clean, so they don't really care that you would test.
Correct.
So like this is just a continuation of maybe 70% of the people who have ever let me test are like that. 30% test themselves, and 70% do not test at all, but don't mind you testing.
Most. Yeah. Correct. Most. Yeah. Oh yeah, like I don't have any sick animals. I think that it's great that you test. Feel free. I would like to see the results either way. Is right. What I get.
So that's totally normal, and this Morphmarket policy just mirrored what feels like a normal procedure in the people that will allow testing by customers.
Yeah. Oh, to be a bug on the wall of Morphmarket and all the raging emails that they got. I would love to hear all that. I would love to know what was said.
Also,
and by whom.
In case anybody's confused. There's no collusion between Morphmarket and any laboratory or vet or medical diagnostic company of any kind. They're not picking one and wanting you to use that one so they get more money. They're not promoting a particular brand. They're just saying, like, if you want to test and you pick the lab you want, and the seller agrees to that, opts in, it would be a refundable for a positive. They're not like condemning nor condoning a particular test type or procedure. They're just saying if you both agree to it, then that's what the buyer wants. That would have been a refundable positive. Nobody makes money.
Why people just immediately thought that they were like in bed together trying to make money? Like,
I think they just don't understand that like most labs that do animal diagnostics aren't making money off animal diagnostics. They're making money off of people and other stuff. The for-profit labs that are like the ones that we have are either doing it for research or it's a very small portion of their business. And they're not going to go find Morphmarket and be like, Morphmarket, I'm starved for business during COVID, a pandemic, where they're testing for, they got lots of
with testing.
We're good on PCR testing. There's no collusion there, and your sort of fantasy where like your business is being hurt by someone else's desire to have a test done on their snake at a 5% of the rate of your normal transactions. This is a big fantasy, too. I'm not even sure.
It's because the general understanding amongst ball python breeders is that Nido and Arena and Crypto are this mythical boogeyman.
Right, that you'd have to, like, try hard to find.
But also if that's it's like they contradict themselves on every turn. So if it's this mythical boogeyman, what do you care if I test for it?
Right. Or if it's rare, why does every ball python have nidovirus in your collection? Like, it's almost the same person saying the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's so like, pick an argument stance and then defend it, and don't contradict yourself in your next sentence, because it cannot be a boogeyman and then it cannot also be, but I don't want to refund money if it's positive. But also, it can't be like, I don't want to have to test anything, but I also think that anybody receiving my animals is now going to scam me.
Right. Is the animal bad or not bad? Like, if you legitimately believe a positive animal is totally fine, then you wouldn't care if they tested. You just be like, some of them are positive, some of them are negative. I don't care, because I believe nido-positive ball pythons are fine. And so, like, they shouldn't have, like, a value drop because look at them, they're all living and breeding, or whatever stupid logic you have for how they're healthy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tortured logic, and maybe we're torturing some logic too, but we're on the, like, other side of the red pill, where we've experienced losses and we've decided to manage it partially with testing. And
they don't want to take the red pill. They took the blue pill, and they're pissed that we're still trying to offer the red pill. And they love the matrix that they're living in, and we're all a bunch of Karens, and we're ruining their fun hobby.
Right.
And I mean, we're not wrong.
Or we're too stupid to understand the nuances that we will never understand about the tests. So, like, not only should we be, like, excluded from using testing as a management tool, but we also should be, like, excluded from the discussion or the table or whatever. There's a lot of, like, self-important bullshit about why we shouldn't be able to decide to want to test, or why John is making a mistake because, the science isn't perfect or something stupid and people don't understand what it means. I mean, fucking come at me. My master's degree, versus your fucking stupid snake, whatever, business. Doesn't matter. Like, I'm an adult too in the hobby, and this is my interpretation of the evidence. I just don't know. It's fine. I look
It's demoralizing. It's not
well,
fine.
I look forward to the day when, like, on Morphmarket, when they do the full life cycle thing, you could be like, here's mom, here's dad, and you could, like, input a little file of, like, mom and dad were tested on intake when they were babies 3 years ago. And then the babies were born, and you could, like, I tested these babies when they bred one time, and now I'm selling my baby that I produced because he's bred for one season. So there's, like, a legacy of testing mixed in with, like, the life history of the animal. And it's,
Do you think that the naysayers will be mad if the ability to put that information in is there? Do you think that that's gonna get taken away too?
I don't think they can get mad at that, because that's not, like, a vet, a diagnosis. It's not an assessment of the current status of the animal. It's just the history of medical care that's been provided to that animal.
Okay.
I took it to the vet and had a wellness check, or whatever. And then
Right.
when it was 1, I had a prophylactic nido test. And then after it was done breeding at 2.5, I had another prophylactic nido test. And that's the history of care of that animal. And so if I looked at that, or you looked at it, you'd be like, sweet, that person looks like they're probably testing their whole colony, or they're testing, like, batches or something. So this animal has had 2 rounds of testing. I bet the rest of the colony is pretty clear. That person is signaling to me that they'd probably be receptive to an intake test on my part. You don't even have to even say it in your terms of service. It's already signaled all over that. And if somebody doesn't give a shit about testing, they don't even need to open the, like, health files of the animal, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, like, that would, like, it's not Morphmarket's position or whatever that matters. That's just data about the animal. That's what I want.
It has nothing to do with people's policy about selling or buying. It's just
Right.
data.
Right. The animal.
It's benign data. Well, I thought this was pretty benign, so.
Oh.
But I was wrong.
And you were wrong.
And we were wrong. It didn't even last 24 hours. No, 48 hours. It was up for 48 hours. And then they rolled it back. I can't imagine. I'm so demoralized. I can't imagine. Is his name John? Is that the
John Lehman?
Morphmarket?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine.
He probably didn't think it would be this crazy.
Of course he didn't think it would be this crazy.
Otherwise, maybe, like, his first blush with it wouldn't have been so sort of specific. It might have been like, hey, we're adding, like, something to the DPS about maybe considering offering a return or refund. It was a very specific and, like, direct ad. So, like, I guess he didn't think it would be this crazy.
Well, and what's funny is that it was crickets in the public forums for 2 days.
I know. I still don't understand that.
And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, blowback. And it's like, well, where is this blowback happening?
And what's
all behind closed doors.
Yeah, and what's more interesting to me is, as I've discovered secrets about all this, is that in the secret chats and channels, people listen to at least the Corn Stars podcast. So they are aware of our positions on these things. And B, that there were people urging John to do this initially that are big dogs. Big dogs were doing it. And then other big dogs fought back.
So there are big dogs that are supportive.
Yes, and I was surprised features of those big dogs. So I'll keep all this anonymous, but
that's exciting, though.
Some people are actually trying, but, like, the market is so toxic and, like, juvenile about it. They don't want to come out publicly about it because, half the hobby will stop buying for them or whatever. To be protesting.
I was talking about about it with my husband this morning because I was, like, irate. So I was, like, yelling, and the poor man was listening and, like,
what a nice husband.
Trying not to like be have my anger directed to him, but I was just, like, so angry and, like, yelling and screaming about it. And that's not a general stance that I take. I'm not, like, a super yeller, angry person, but I was furious, and so I was, like, yelling, and I was talking to him about how scary it is to be in this industry and to have taken the red pill and have woken up, and there is no way, once you understand biohazard safety and you understand the realness of it, there's no way to walk it back. You can either get out or you can move forward in a more educated way. For me personally, there's no way but forward. And so now that I understand and now that I know, I can't go back to not knowing or not understanding or not caring about nidovirus or crypto or any of the viruses. I have to move forward in a more educated manner because I know better. I have to do better. And it's scary for me to be public about that. Like we're talking a lot about it on our podcast. We're advertising it on our business pages. I need to write an addendum on my Morphmarket that lets people know that I'm very protesting. And it's scary because especially seeing 48 hours, huge blowback, seeing that people could blacklist you, people could label me Karen, people could decide that I'm shit and that I shouldn't be, that I should be shunned in the hobby or blacklisted in the hobby because I'm protesting. And I think it does make people quieter about it because the reptile community and their lynch mob sometimes can be very damaging to a business. But how do you not, like I said, once you know, how do you have to talk about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who, they've tested internally, they're happy with that. They might share privately with their friends like a recommendation, but they don't want to take a stand because of exactly this reason. But I just know what it looks like to see a snake that you really love die. And
yeah,
there's no
literally
reason.
holding a snake you love as it dies, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and that's 100% preventable, 100% the fault even of people who are protesting but are silent. I've had so many people reach out to me since Cornstarch and been like, I've always been like testing curious and I have colubrids and whatever, and the money is no object. I just didn't know. So like, every time we open our mouths, it's good. We're saving people to stay in the hobby, and we're saving animals to continue to live. Period. End of story. We have to keep going, I think.
There isn't another option.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's just like being like, I like, nobody would even bat an eye if we were like, man, we shouldn't, vaccinate puppies. Like, what? Like, of course.
We should just let them all die of parvo.
Yeah, right away,
Right away. Let's just kick them and shove them in the parvo dirt.
Some puppies survive parvo. Did you know that? So,
I do know that.
So we shouldn't vaccinate any of them because it would be unnecessary testing of puppies. I don't know. Like, that's what it feels like to me. Like, okay, we have an obvious solution for a clear and present danger for living things that are in our stead. Let's do it. Like, it's fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could talk about this all day. But in summary, Morphmarket things rolled back, but maybe the conversation that has happened as a result of it is like a net good because more people have thought about
That's
testing.
What I need to hear. Yeah. I mean, if John is listening, I'm proud of you. I think the industry that is testing is proud of you. Even if it got walked back, it was a huge step forward. Even if we're going to have to take a few steps back, unprecedented step in the right direction. Even if we don't get to keep that step, it was really admirable. I feel like no one else that has the kind of influence that he has done that yet, and so it was really good to see, and that they can't take away that. Right.
Think of all the people who could have done a John Layman. That's now a proper noun, like a verb. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
All of those people who could have done it for the last 20 years, and only John Layman pulled of John Layman. So hats off to you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we're done, ladies and gentlemen. See us at the show. Jana will be depressed this time, and I'll be happy. It's gonna be awesome.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Stop by, say hi, subscribe to our podcast, get a candy cane.
It's gonna be lit.
Yes.
Join Chris in the beer garden. It'll be also lit in there.
While he's selling cars at a reptile show.
It's gonna be awesome. All right.
It's gonna be awesome.
Bye.
Bye.